Alright guys, this is going to be chapter 17, which is going to include the wiring for all of this that we've been working on here. We're going to basically get the Arduino Mega here with the ramps shield on it, and get all our end stops hooked up and everything wired in, ready to go. So I just kind of want to go over everything that I'm going to be using so it's clear in the video. I'm not really going to spend too much time on the details because once again that will be in the documentation. Everyone can look that up. So right here we have our motor wiring. The long ones for the extruder. They're all labeled. This one's Z, X, Y. Those ones are the shorter ones for the motors here. Not a lot of distance, so a little bit better cable management. So we have 4 of those for the motors, and then we have our hot end. The previous video showed the female assembly of this, so this is the male end that's going to connect to the female end, which I have zip tied up here. And then you know, this one's a little longer here. We have our the end of that, so that's our hot end power, and we have our hot end fan with the end stop connector. These all go to the ramp board, and then our thermistor. These are the auxiliary cables that are going to be used for the panel 1 LCD. I want to get these on the ramps board before I get the heated bed on top, so I'll be able to just plug these into the panel 1 and not have to unscrew the heat bed. And the heat bed over here are the mounting brackets for that, which are 3D printed. Fan splitter, just going to get an extra fan in there for the one here, and then the one on the hot end up here. And then we have the aluminum heat bed. Power, those will go to the ramps, and then this is the thermistor right here. And then we have a cardboard insulator with some aluminum tape to kind of keep it from burning or anything. Should do a pretty good job. Pretty thick cardboard. Alright, and then for our electronics, we have our Arduino Mega, which is going to be the start. It's going to get fitted into this bracket here. And then our shield, which is the ramp shield. It's got 4 stepper motor drivers. That's the power plug, and then these down here are the terminals for the fans, the hot end, and the heated bed. Alright guys, now that everyone's kind of got an idea of what I'm working with here, I'm going to get started. So this is the male end of the hot end fixture that and there we go. So we ran it along got our connection up here. Run it right along that PTF tubing. Added our Z. And now we have all of our cables here. Alright, so now we gotta fit these pretty bed holders on. There's a little spot for the nuts right here. go. We have all of our bed mounts here. And we need to kind of get this Z-probe retractor. This is going to be what retracts the Z-probe when it's done finding level. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is start dividing up the cables kind of where they're going to be going. So I want to mount all of the wires. I've already kind of split them up down what extrusion they're going to be going down, but what I want to do is get them all on here first. Alright guys, so here we're going to fit our Arduino. Oh, let me back up a little. We're going to fit our Arduino here. You can see it's the Mega. And then the ramp shield will fit over this later. We'll have but we're going to screw this down with some self-tapping screws into this plastic bracket right here. We're going to fit it in just like this. Like that. We're just going to throw down some washers first. Alright. I don't know if you can see, but I've pre-bent the USB wire right here underneath. Then I'm going to plug it in right there. There we go. And now we're live right here on this USB port. So now all we gotta do is plug into here to talk to our Arduino. Alright guys, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fit our ramps board, or our ramp shield I should say, on top of the Arduino Mega. This is our ramps right here. We have 4 motor driver chips. We're gonna mount it this way, like this, and then I'm gonna look through the extrusions over here, make sure all the pins are lining up and we get everything right. Now what we gotta do is we gotta get our power supply here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fit the rest of our motors. Alright guys, so I'm going to be wiring everything into the ramps board now. But I want to be real specific about what I'm doing in case anybody needs help with this part of the process, because it probably could be confusing, especially if you don't have any experience. Which I don't, so I might say some things wrong. So what we got is all our wires from everything around the ramps board right here. I have power here, so it's connected to the panel that you've seen me install if you've watched the other videos. This is all, once again, open source on the RepRap. You can find the wiring on Wiki. But basically we have our 3 motors, XYZ, I'm not sure which is which, it doesn't really matter. XYZ, stepper motor drivers, and then we have our extruder driver here. If you want, the ramps has an availability for a second extruder here. I don't have that. So we're going to start with the end stops right here. It's upside down for you guys in the video, but either way, this is we don't use minimum end stops for the Kossel design, so the X-min and the Y-min are jumpered off. And then these are where our end stop cables are going to connect here, as you can see. And then also we gotta get our fans connected as well. And our fan connection, for anyone interested, is going to be right back here. These guys right here. It's hard to see, but if you can see these 2 pins, that's where our fan connector is going to be. And since we have a heated print bed, we're going to need this fan splitter. So we're going to call the black side up here. Alright guys, sorry about that. I had to do a little bit of soldering work on these plugs here. There were male connectors, I needed female. So I just made that quick modification. So now that we have our fan splitter right here, we're going to connect our fans, which is going to be red to red here. Sorry, red to red. Black. And we also have our hot end fan labeled F. Alright. Try to keep that out of the way. Alright, and as before, I was telling everyone our end stops, these are jumpers, because they're not used. We don't use the min or the min. It goes X min, for those who care, X min, X max, X min, X max, and then Z min and Z max. So, okay, so now we have our Z. Z is going to be this far back one. We're going to be using Z minimum for the probe. You want to be careful too when you connect your Z, because you don't want to hit this this I2C row. Alright, and now this guy right here is going to be our probe. Alright, I'm going to go the Y end stop. X end stop. Okay, so now we gotta get our thermistor set. That's gonna go in the slot, which is right behind the motor end stops. Can't see it very well, but it's this, let me move this. These two pins right here. 1 and 2. It says T and then 0 with a line through it, which is ground. So you want to make sure that your green lead is connected to T. Got it? And then now it's time for our motor cables. So the X motor is right here. It's labeled. It's going to start right here with your X. Sorry, I'm blocking the light. Right here is your X driver. It's labeled on the ramps board right in between the stepper motor shields. So we're gonna connect this one here. That would be X. Make sure you get a good connection. Then we're gonna go Y. and then Z. There's two slots for the Z. It doesn't matter which one, as long as they're plugged in there. I'm just doing it all in the same row to keep consistency. Alright, so now what we have to do is we got to connect our hot end and our second fan for the hot end, which is going to be the fan wires going to be here. And then we have our hot end wires here. Alright, so the final wiring is going to be the extruder here, which is going to wind up right in front of the extruder driver here. Alright, and then our next, we have to fit our auxiliaries for our panel 1 LCD, which so now what we need to do is we need to get our heated bed fitted right over here. Moving to the thermistor cable here. This one's gonna go right next to the other one. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of flatten the wires here. Alright, they're completed wiring. Cardboard insulator. It's got the heat tape. There you go. And that completes the wiring.